Hi, I'm Shandi, and I do not want to fuck around and find out with little green men.
Hi, I'm Craig, and I want to believe.
Hi, I'm Kylee, and I want to phone home. And this is Seance with My Siblings, Alien Edition. Welcome to the Seance.
Do we?
All right. On September 1st, 1969, a strange and unsolved mystery occurred in Berkshire County, Massachusetts. This was no small event. Over 250 people reported witnessing a UFO, according to ufopark.org.
Wow.
Holy cow.
That's a lot of
That
people.
is a lot of people.
To top it off, the incident has been deemed to be a significantly historic and true event by the Great Barrington Historical Society and Massachusetts historians, according to Bianca Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Why can I nuts? Rodriguez.
I love the name Bianca.
It's
fun.
It's very
It is
Shakespeare.
Oh, that's true. I forget about that.
On the evening of September 1st, lights were spotted above the Sheffield in the southern Berkshires. Many of the residents stated that the lights were disc-shaped and maneuvering unpredictably. Some of the witnesses even stated that they had lost track of time as they gazed in stunned silence at the UFO. These strange lights danced in the night sky, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions.
What year was this again?
1969.
Oh, so there are no drones.
No drones.
This was not drones.
It can't be explained away like that this time.
This time.
Okay.
One family that experienced these strange lights and the time slip was the Reed family. Thomas Reed, who was 9 years old at the time, was riding in the car with his mother, brother, and grandmother. It had been a hot day, and Thomas had been in a horse show earlier that day. The family noticed a group of glowing orbs dash out of the roadside trees. Then something strange happened as they headed home, and his family approached the Sheffield Bridge. It had come to a stop off the right side of the road, Thomas had recalled. Everything got really calm. It was like being in the middle of a hurricane. There was a change in the pressure in the air. It was like a dead silence. The lights lit up the night as if it were broad daylight. Then there was an eruption of crickets and frogs, and it got really loud, and that was it. The family found itself back in the car. They had lost 3 hours of
that's
memory.
Shit.
just so insane to me. Like, especially like hearing multiple accounts where like people lose time and like they just think it was like quick, but it's just
Right. And then it's like, oh, that
I
was
hate
5
that.
hours ago, though.
Yeah.
That was like a day ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that would blow my mind.
Well, he's 9. Maybe he just dissociated for 3 hours.
I mean,
But a whole family doesn't dissociate together for 3 hours.
The
typically.
whole family.
And like the eerie dead silence, and then like the cacophony of loud animal noises.
yes,
Yeah.
very spooky.
And it's always creepy when animal noises stop, like you're out in the wild.
Yes. Have you
And-
guys ever experienced that?
I don't know. Not that I can remember right off the top of my head.
I don't think so, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, unless it's Bigfoot.
There was one time Mom and I were out on a walk,
Mm.
and
Oh,
yeah, it was just like, it got like really super, like no cricket sounds, no animal sounds, and it was kind of like the air around was like heavy.
Mm-hmm. And then what happened?
And then what happened? So this was a different time than I think what you're thinking of.
Oh, okay.
There was a time when there were some weird little critters of some sort following us. But there were still animal sounds with that one. This one was just like a weird night.
Like
When we were just out on a walk. Yeah. Gross.
In
Yeah.
small town
Yeah.
with those open fields and
Right. It's not quiet here. This is
Mm-mm.
very rural area. There's always animals making noises.
Mhm.
oh yeah.
And like dogs barking
Oh,
in the
so
distance.
many
and,
dogs.
like, yeah. But no, it was like still. And me and Mom were like, we should go home, I think.
We'll just turn around.
And it was on the same trail, right?
No, it
That
was,
the other
we
one
were
happened?
actually
Oh.
walking down towards the main roads.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes it especially strange that it went quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's just so much animal life.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
yeah.
Anywho's, the family found itself back in the car. They had lost 3 hours of memory. They were no longer on the bridge, but in front of the store.
Mm.
Thomas said that it felt like they had been at the wrong place at the wrong time, and they were not supposed to remember what had happened.
Oh.
What's even stranger, Thomas Reed's mother and grandmother had somehow switched the car seats they had been sitting in. So the mom had been in like the driver's seat
Right.
and then the grandma in the
Grandma's in-
passenger.
Mhm.
And then when they all kind of like came back to,
Mm.
grandma was in the driver's seat and mom was in the passenger
So it's like
seat.
whoever did whatever with them for that 3 hours forgot where people were sitting.
Yeah.
Oof, I hate it.
Or was just like, fucking care.
Probably
they're like,
that
we're
too.
done with them.
Yep. Here you go.
There is not any tangible evidence of the Berkshire UFO incident, but that hasn't stopped Thomas from maintaining his belief that something strange happened that day and holding steadfast to his account of events. He said that over time, the family regained some bits and pieces of memory of the
Which
incident.
happens in a lot of these cases. You'll hear over time, people are like, things start coming back.
Yes. Including having been inside a hangar-like facility with other people. He described the hangar as being larger than a football field with a Y configuration in the hallways to control traffic flow. So there was like a lot of people and a lot going on.
I hate it when there's like a lot of people. It almost makes it worse.
Yes. One of the rooms they had seen had a bowed-in wall that was rounded. The Reeds brothers, Matt and Thomas, say they've had 4 encounters with aliens. 3 in the 1960s, one of which included their mother and grandma, which was this one, and a 4th Matt had in 2009 in Indiana. And this is not uncommon with people that like have alien experiences.
Right. It's like the aliens marked them and they keep coming back to check up on them or whatever.
Like an experiment.
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Hard pass. But the Reed family wasn't the only one who had experienced something on that odd September evening. Some who had experienced the sightings were adults, while others were children who began drawing UFOs in class.
Great.
Thomas stated that he realized the significance of the event when he saw 20 or 30 sketches that had been drawn by children in his 4th grade class from what they had seen.
Oof.
They hung underneath the classboard in Sheffield Center School. More than one of those hang in the Roswell Museum today. It wasn't just us, he said of his family and himself. Another who had an odd experience on that September evening was Melanie Kirkdofer and her family at Lake Mansfield. So, like, a lot of these, like, there's more than one person while this is happening to them. So a couple families, a couple like people with just like friends.
Mm-hmm.
So her family was at Lake Mansfield in Great Barrington, and Melanie and her family had gone on a trip to the lake, and they were going out to get ice cream. As her father backed into the parking lot, a very bright light seemed to engulf their car. The family began to panic, and to her dismay, her father decided to chase the light. While her mother claimed it was just a shooting star, despite Melanie begging him not to, he took chase, and she and her sister began to shake in fear. Melanie's sister didn't remember anything after that. Melanie, however, remembered levitating and then being on a ship. She remembered being laid out while in it.
Ugh, gross. I hate it.
Tom Warner, another who had experienced being taken off-world during the incident, had seen Melanie to the right of him on the ship. He states that her face expressed total fear. She did not remember seeing him. She remembered a room where there were several other children and that those children had just begun to disappear one by one. After that, she woke up at the lake, alone.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so she wasn't with her family in the car anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Well, she didn't get her damn ice cream.
No.
Sorry, Craig, I interrupted you.
No, you're okay. Yeah, no, that's just like insane that she wasn't like with them anymore. Just
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It had to be so scary for her.
Yeah.
Dude. Tom Warner was only 10 years old at the time. He states he was abducted by a large hovering oval that day. He had been coloring and listening to music at his next door neighbor's house when a voice spoke to him telepathically and out of nowhere, telling him, "You have to go home." He said the voice had told him. He did as the voice said, but something felt off. Warner states, "The September crickets, the katydids, and all the sounds just vanished." He said, and that's what made me clue in to something was wrong. Tom felt as though he had been running at full speed toward his home, but he realized he was actually running in place, stuck inside a beam shooting out from the sky.
No, thank you.
The same telepathic voice told him to look over his shoulder, and he saw it. About 40 feet long and 20 feet tall, the UFO was hovering mid-air. His hands jerked back, and he was on the UFO. He states that he was gone for 7 minutes, and he found himself in the same child-filled area where Melanie had remembered being. He said everyone looked terrified. And he remembers that a Yoda-like figure putting a hand on his shoulder to reassure him, which I absolutely hate. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. And Star Wars didn't come out until May 25th, 1977, so it's likely the association with Yoda came later.
Like when he finally had a reference to say what this thing looked like.
Okay.
Yes. So it wasn't like this kid had just watched Star Wars and like,
Right.
oh yeah, I was on a ship with Yoda.
Yeah, I did all that too.
Yeah. Jane Green, whose family founded the first Rexall drugstore in the Northeast, was another citizen of the Great Barrington community that encountered the UFO that strange September night. As she drove home with a friend, she saw a huge bright light in front of her car. She stopped, along with other amazed drivers and witnesses, what seemed to be an alien aircraft hovering at eye level, completely silent. So all of these guys, like, there's this silence that comes with these UFOs. Jane says that this was the most profound experience of her life. Though years have passed and the world has bigger fish to fry, the people of Berkshire County still remember the Berkshire incident. In fact, there is a UFO park. The Tom Reed UFO Park is located on a plot of donated land that was the site of the Reed family's 1969 UFO encounter, sitting just off of the Housatonic River in the town of Sheffield. This public park serves as a memorial to preserve and commemorate the unique history that took place there. The Reed family made history again in 2015 when former Massachusetts Governor Charles Baker signed an official citation recognizing that the Reed family's off-world incident. This act represented the first official step in UFO disclosure in the United States.
Oh, shit.
That's cool. But
There's-
also, no. Absolutely not.
And some of these people, so there's a Netflix documentary. It's like the Unsolved Mysteries Season 1, Episode 6, I believe.
Oh.
And a lot of these people, like, they had these experiences and they hadn't even met each other and, like, talked about this. And then, like, when things, like, started to come out, they're like, my experience was super similar to these other people's experiences.
And that just adds that extra validation that
Sure.
isn't great. But
So all these people who don't know each other can't collude together to make this up.
yeah. Mhm.
And in the documentary, there was a woman who was like, I saw this and I was driving home from work and I didn't want to tell my kids because I didn't want to freak them out. And so, like, years later, I want to say she said it was like 20 years, they were like talking about aliens or something. And her kids were like, we saw something. And she's like, oh my gosh, I saw that too.
Oh my
She's
gosh.
like, and now you're adults, so we can talk about it.
Yeah. So it's not going to scare you anymore. Or maybe it still will.
Yeah.
Aliens are scary. So my sources: 9 alien abduction stories that seem disturbingly true. allthat'sinteresting.com. September 1st, 1969, Berkshire UFO incident, Wikipedia, ian.wikipedia.org, the Tom Reed UFO Park, ufopark.org, and the Netflix documentary Unsolved Mysteries Season 1, 2020.
Good sources.
Good sources.
So you didn't just get on Reddit.
I didn't just get on Reddit.
Not that that's bad. I love Reddit.
Love Reddit, yes.
Reddit's the bomb. They know everything.
They do know everything.
It's true.
What do you guys think of the Berkshire incident?
I believe it.
Mhm.
I think, yeah, unless it's like, I don't know, none of these people had anything to gain, especially 20 years later talking about it with your kids.
Yeah.
It's not like you were trying to get famous. It's not like you were trying to get a book deal or a movie deal, you know?
Yeah. And even on the documentary, the historian was like, there's like, most people don't even know that this happened here. Like it hasn't increased tourism. Anyone that's coming through this part of Massachusetts, they're either going somewhere else or they're coming because there was like a famous author who I can't remember who was born there.
Oh, okay. So it has nothing to do with
Nothing to do with the aliens.
Wow. I want to go to Massachusetts so bad.
Same.
I also want to go to Massachusetts so bad.
Let's go.
What were your thoughts, Craig?
I think that I hate that they all have like similar experiences and that they like just all experience the same thing basically. It just isn't good. I don't love it.
It doesn't seem like they were physically harmed though.
Which is good.
Which a lot of things it's like probing is involved.
Yeah.
Unpleasantness is involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it probably, if you do like a deep dive on aliens, there's like a whole bunch of different like categories, I guess, like the Greys and the Syrians and all that fun stuff. So maybe it just depends who you're getting abducted by.
Yeah.
Oof. I also didn't love how they kept coming back to like the same people for like their experiments.
Yes. Yeah.
Which,
it's like once you're marked for life.
Yeah.
Like, and who knows what will happen next? And it's like, oh my God, please no.
And you never know if or when they'll come back for you.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, like, these are like the Reed brothers. A lot of times it is siblings or like people like they'll pick like specific families.
Okay.
I hate that for us.
Yeah.
Give me demons any day.
Literally.
Not aliens.
Please no. I don't want to be beamed up.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have for you guys.
I loved it and hated it.
Thank
you.
You're welcome.
All right. So, what started December 26th in 1980 in Rendlesham Forest and continued for 2 days following, skeptics say was no more than a meteor shower, fireworks, or the light of a lighthouse. But the official military witnesses and the following investigation from Lieutenant Cole Charles Halt proves otherwise. When these kind of stories have like such official like eyewitnesses and like retellings, it just is like that validation, and I don't want it. I'd rather hear from like people who are like, yeah, I was like abducted, or like, yeah, I've seen aliens.
So you'd
like,
rather hear from easily discredited sources.
Well, yes, exactly.
So
like,
you can be like, oh, that was a fun story.
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Literally.
But yeah, like lieutenants and Air Force generals and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, no, thank you. So, just after midnight on December 26, eyewitnesses and radar screens followed an unidentified object as it vanished into the forest. Soldiers dispatched to the site encountered a luminous triangular-shaped craft 10 feet across and 8 feet high with 3 legs, which is, compared to like a lot of like the UFO sightings you hear about, isn't like super large of a craft.
Right, that's pretty small.
So it's like interesting, and or were there drones in 1980? No, definitely not.
No, definitely not. I'm from the 80s. Can confirm. No drones.
Yeah, perfect. But it's just like, what else could it be?
Well, and a drone that big?
Like
look
for
at
that
what
time,
we have
even.
now.
Exactly. And, okay, I'm just freaking out. But anyways, yes. So, soldiers dispatched to the site encountered a luminous triangular-shaped craft 10 feet across and 8 feet high, with 3 legs. The UFO then retracted the legs and easily maneuvered its way through the trees. The soldiers chased it from a field, where it abruptly shot upward, shining brilliant lights down on them. At that moment, the witnesses lost consciousness. When they came to, they were back in the forest. Other troops sent to rescue them found tripod landing marks where the object apparently had rested, and the following evening, after observers reported strange lights, the deputy base commander, Lieutenant Cole Charles Halt, led a larger party into Rendlesham. Their Halt measured abnormal amounts of radiation at the original landing site. Another smaller group off on the separate trek through the forest spotted a dancing red light inside a eerily pulsating fog.
Ooh.
Which is interesting. They alerted Halt's group, who suddenly saw the light heading towards them, spewing forth a rainbow waterfall of colors. Meanwhile, the second group now watched a glowing domed object in which they could see the shadows of figures moving about. In the dome. In the pulsating, in the dome of that craft that's flying towards them.
Okay.
And during the next hour, both groups observed these and other darting lights. Cable news networks learned that films and photographers were taken of these events despite official denials. According to curiously persistent rumors, never verified but never completely disproved, occupants were encountered at some point during the event. When a constituent told him about the incident, U.S. Senator James Exxon launched an extensive but quite secret inquiry. He has never released his findings, even to staff members. He says only that he learned additional information that ties to Rendlesham case to other explained UFO incidents. So there have been more incidents that are similar to this one, which is a lot of the time what will happen. And I have this document from the Department of Defense by the Lieutenant Charles I. Halt. It basically summarizes what they saw, that they had investigated after the following incident with the soldiers, that they were kind of okay, what's actually happening. But then the lieutenant saw the pulsating red lights, and this is I'll read some of the exact wording from the document. It maneuvered through the trees and disappeared. At this time, the animals on a nearby farm went into a frenzy. The object was briefly sighted approximately an hour later near the back gate. The next day, 3 depressions, 1.5 deep and 7 inches in diameter, were found where the object had been sighted on the ground. The following night, December 29th, the area was checked for radiation, beta-gamma readings of 0.1 millo Riogens.
I don't know what that measurement unit is.
But those things were recorded with peak readings, probably just the radiation readings, I guess.
Okay, so a spike in radiation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a spike in radiation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. In the 3 depressions in the near and center of the triangle formed by the depressions, a nearby tree had moderate 0.05 negative and 0.07 readings on the side of the tree towards the depression. So that tree had that radiation with it.
Okay.
So where it had touched down, I guess. Later in the night, a red sun-like light was seen through the trees. It moved about and pulsated. At one point, it appeared to throw off glowing particles and then broke into 5 separate white objects and then disappeared. Immediately thereafter, 3 star-like objects were noticed in the sky, 2 objects to the north and 1 to the south, all of which were about 10 degrees off the horizon. The objects moved rapidly in the sharp angular movements and displayed red, green, and blue lights. The objects to the north appeared to be elliptical through a 12 power lens. They then turned to full circles. The objects to the north remained in the sky for an hour or more. The objects in the south were visible for 2 or 3 hours and beamed down a stream of light from time to time. Numerous individuals, including the undersigned, witness and activities in paragraphs 2 and 3.
So it was just, oh, sorry.
No, that was all.
I was just going to say, so it was just in the air for like a couple hours just hanging out.
It was just hanging around and like beaming down at the like bases.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is weird.
That is
like
weird.
scanning them.
Oh,
Is
with
what
radiation.
Is what I also read, yeah. And that was like from Charles L. Halt, Lieutenant, USAF Deputy Base Commander.
So
like
high
retelling
ranking.
that.
Yeah. I think in the military, you don't become a high ranking official if you're prone to flights of whimsy and fantasy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they would never promote me.
Yeah.
They're like, girl, your
like, nah.
your uterus wanders way too much.
Oh,
Go
no.
home.
Well, and two, like, it must have had like an impact because you don't like just report something like that when you're a
No.
lieutenant because, like, yeah, like his job might have been.
You're like, I don't want them to think I've lost all my marbles, and I don't want to have a psych evaluation.
Mhm.
Thank you.
It was because it flew over like the 2 bases though,
Right.
and a radar screen
Well,
like
not
caught it.
serious. If something's
Right.
flying over a military base,
Mhm.
they shoot
Yeah.
that shit down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I would see why it had to be documented. Otherwise, they'd be like, what the hell were you guys doing? You
Like,
just
why
let this happen?
Did
Yeah.
that just
Okay.
happen? Yeah, exactly.
Good job, guys.
You just
For
let
real.
it fly on by.
Do you
Yeah.
guys remember years ago? I think Xander, who's now 19, was just like 4. There was something above those mountains, just yonder, just hovering and just staying there. Like, Mom, I came down to visit with Xander, and Mom and Dad were like, look out the window. What do you see?
Oh, I actually, no, I
Oh.
vaguely
I vaguely
remember
This was a
that.
long time ago.
Yeah, I was just
There was
little.
disc spherically object just in the mountain sitting there, like not like hovering above the mountain. And they got out like binoculars and looked at it, and it's like, what the hell is that?
Oh,
That we've had a couple weird light
Mm,
experiences
in that like
mountains.
same
Yeah.
mountain.
Mhm.
Oh,
Do you want to talk
they,
about?
yeah, I'll
Okay.
talk about that. It was either aliens or the Fae.
Yeah.
So one of the two, or
I'm
neither.
not sure which I would prefer.
Oh god, same. Rip. But I think it was me and I think it was me and 2 friends. But we went up to like the springs, and it was late at night, and we saw this like blue-white light shining from like the mountain, and it came up. It was like a fan, if that makes sense. Like the light was like fanned out.
Okay.
Okay.
But it was like flashing and just like super bright and like moving around, like, and the shape was like holding still though, and it was
Mhm.
light.
So it's just
But-
like having a rave fan dance.
Basically,
Okay.
yeah. But it was just like, and then it just like went away, like the light turned off or something.
They're like,
But it was just like so crazy, and I was like, that was definitely aliens or some shit. But
Yeah.
that's wild.
we've also seen like
Yeah.
lights over it though.
We were at the cemetery. Craig and a friend and Chantel with us.
I think it was Chantel, me, and you, right?
Yeah, and we were just sitting there in the cemetery as you do at nighttime.
Mhm.
Normal.
Yes.
Normal.
For us.
And there was this like green light on the other side of the like mountain.
So our cemetery is situated starting like at the base of mountains.
Yes,
Like
there's
hilly
mountains everywhere.
Country, yeah.
Yes.
So it's like a little bit removed from town at the base of hills that then become mountains.
Mhm.
Yes. So like there's the one hill and then it like dips and then there's the other hill behind it. And so like in between those there was like this greenish light and it would like glow like super bright green for a minute, and then it would like diminish, and then it would like grow super bright again. And
Ew.
yeah.
That's
Like
weird.
pulsating.
Yeah. And it wasn't like car lights or anything.
Right. Car lights aren't green.
Yeah, car lights aren't green, and when a car's driving, it doesn't move in the way that
And they
those
don't
were moving.
pulsate.
Yeah.
I've never seen car lights pulsate
hmm
when they're driving.
Mm-mm.
But there was also like eerie feeling.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was
with it.
just not.
Right.
Yeah.
You're witnessing something not usual that you probably shouldn't be seeing.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Oh,
At the cemetery.
At the
Yeah.
cemetery.
Yeah.
See, give me ghosts any day.
Mhm.
Any day.
Yes. Anyways.
And that was what I had for the Rendlesham forest incident, which was in the UK, by the way. I didn't mention that. I just didn't. It was in the UK,
Surprise,
shorty.
shorty.
Well, I like that it's far away from us.
Yeah.
Sorry,
same.
all of our UK people. I'm sorry it is by you.
Yes.
Sorry.
And some of the sources is science.howstuffworks.com/space/aliens/UFOs
Nice.
and thestrangeways.co.uk, the mysteries of Rendlesham Forest. And that document is just like a PDF on the thestrangeways.co.uk website
Mm.
that was just like a click document,
Oh, okay.
JPEG or whatever, PDF.
Does it look like I know what a JPEG is?
It was probably a PDF.
It was a PDF, yes. And I believe it, but also it's like, it's hard to not believe that one with like the sources
Right.
and like the people who saw it.
I hate it,
Same.
and I also believe it.
Yes. All right.
All right. Thanks, Craig.
Yeah,
That was
welcome.
awful.
I know, it was
I hate it.
not good.
Yeah.
Especially all the radiation.
That's what I was just
Mhm.
going to say. I was like, the radiation.
I just wonder if they had long-lasting effects. Like years later, did they get cancer that developed from exposure?
So there was one thing that was saying that one of the two guys that went out there first
Mm-hmm.
had gotten eye and heart damage,
Oh shit!
Oh.
like from like I guess the radiation
Yeah.
is what would
Yeah,
make most sense.
It turns out we're not supposed to be exposed to
No.
radiation for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's an interesting point.
Mhm.
Eyes and
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
Eyes and like heart.
Too vulnerable.
Yeah.
Huh.
Huh.
Mhm.
I
Cool.
hate that for them.
Yeah, same.
Oh, I hate that from them so much. They're just doing their job and they got hurt.
I know, it's not good.
No.
Mm-mm.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Here we go. I bring to you all today the Lovett Cunningham incident, also known as the Project Grudge Report number 13 that does not exist.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah. Who wants to go to work on a missile range and unexpectedly find yourself missing your penis?
Oh.
Not me.
Yeah, not me.
I mean, I don't have a penis that's attached to my body, but I don't want
It doesn't
to lose
sound like a good experience.
No.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, this was a reality for Air Force Sergeant Jonathan P. Lovett. He was minding his own business, searching for debris from a recent rocket test at the White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico. He was working with Major William Cunningham when he lost his penis. And even, sorry, I'm
No,
making light of this, but this man lost his life and it is really sad. And that's why I can't be serious because it's really, really horrible. Anyway, yes, he lost his penis and even more horrific, his life. Rest in peace, sir, and thank you for your service. And I mean that with all sincerity. Major Cunningham reports hearing a gut-wrenching scream and no longer being able to see Lovett. Cunningham was worried Lovett had gotten on the wrong end of a snake's mouth. So they're in New Mexico, and it's the desert, and there are lots of rattlesnakes.
Mm.
So they're always like on guard for that. So Cunningham ran to try to find him, and what he saw was terrifying, shocking, and the fuel of nightmares. Sergeant Lovett was being gripped by a tentacle.
Ooh.
What?
Yes. I keep thinking of like King and the other one from The Simpsons in their Halloween episodes, the aliens.
Okay.
But all he saw of it was like a long snake-like tentacle, very long. So this craft was said to be 10 to 20 feet away from him, hovering above the ground, 10 to 20 feet above the ground. And this tentacle was coming out of it and had Lovett by the ankles.
Ooh, gross.
Yes. Yes. And he describes it as a silver disc suspended magically in the air in ways our tech was not yet able to achieve. And this is in these reports, the Grudge reports, were in the 1940s and 50s.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yes. Then the disc flew away with Lovett inside. But not flew away like any plane we had at the time. The silver disc flew up vertically, so straight up into the air, and then away it would, and then away up into the stars. And this happened, probably important to mention, this was like 3 a.m. They were woken up super early to go find this wreckage.
Okay.
And they're on the White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico. Cunningham was properly horrified and in a state of shock, but he was able to get to his Jeep and radio for assistance. When security came and he relayed the events that took place, security took him to the military hospital on the nearby Holloman Air Force Base. According to Wartime Stories, which is a YouTube channel, it was odd that these two men were even asked to be out there looking for wreckage in the first place, especially at that time of the morning, as that was usually done by the pilots. The importance of finding the wreckage had everything to do with World War II and the atomic arms race, which some people believe is why life from other galaxies became interested in humans in the first place. But there are accounts of people seeing UFOs from thousands of years before this. So back to Lovett. His body was found 3 days later. So they launched a massive search because like one of their men was gone.
Right.
And there's a fantastical story detailing why he was gone. And they're like, well, what if this guy just murdered him and this is pretend?
Like a cover-up.
Yeah.
The alien tentacle monster.
Yeah, the silver disc came and took him away. Did I mention it was like a snake-like tentacle that had him? Yeah. But again, this was like a serious military official who was like higher ranking.
Yeah.
And this was like a lower ranking person that was abducted. Anyway, so Lovett's body was found 3 days later and only 10 miles from where he was abducted from, which they had searched it.
Oof.
And they had continued to search that area until like 3 days later he was found.
He was dropped off.
Yeah, he was dropped off. The elements of the desert and the animals had gotten to his corpse, but the autopsy did show his tongue was removed from his lower jaw.
Ooh.
His eyes had been removed. Intestines had been removed. His rectum had been removed. And yes, his penis had been removed.
Oh.
The removal of the penis was described as it being cut out of his body as if it were a plug. Just like that visual sink in. So like everything was removed with surgical precision.
I hate it.
So it's not like things were just willy-nilly ripped out by animals. Like these were surgical removals.
I hate it.
I hate it.
I really
it's terrifying, isn't it? Like, can you imagine that happening to you?
No, I don't
like,
know.
what he went through before this happened to him?
Oh, my God.
Whew. The very odd thing... So this is all odd, but there's another odd thing that was discovered about his body, and that is that it had been exsanguinated. But the veins hadn't collapsed as one would expect to see when all blood has been removed from the body.
Interesting.
So like as blood is coursing through you, it keeps your veins open, right? And if you remove all that blood, your veins collapse because there's nothing there to keep it open.
Interesting.
Isn't that strange?
That is strange.
Rather odd, isn't it?
Yes, and I am not a doctor, but I find that to be odd.
It is odd.
Very peculiar.
Yeah, and so that is poor Lovett. And so moving on to the Grudge reports is The odd thing about the Grudge reports is that there are 14 in all, so 14 separate reports, and all reports are said to be very short, 20 pages or less. And some of it has been declassified, so I perused one, and I read through one that had been declassified and found that it to be very short and depicting regular people reporting to the military seeing unidentified objects in the sky that the military was able to disprove as anything extraterrestrial. So they're very dry, very boring, right? So the 13th report is the interesting one and the one that is gone and never existed. Because usually you just skip from 12 to 14, right?
Right.
When you're
as
making
you do.
reports, you're like 1, 2, 20.
Yep,
Right.
exactly.
Especially with official documents.
Yeah, especially official documents that were classified, right? So the 13th report is missing. And only a few people in multiple places I saw, only like 3 people claim to have read it.
Okay.
One of it, which is Richard English, a former Green Beret. The 13th report was around 600 pages long.
600 pages.
As compared to like these little dinky 20-page or less reports, right?
Okay.
Yes. And in these 600 pages included many accounts of UFOs, animal and human abductions, and subsequent findings of mutilated corpses of both people and animals.
Okay.
It also has accounts of us, like the U.S. military, finding aliens and holding them captive for study, hiding them in military bases all over the country. It is worth noting that these Grudge reports later became the Blue Book reports, which will require its own complete deep dive at another time. So, researching this was a wild ride. I have never on purpose researched anything to do with aliens because they scare the shit out of me and I like to pretend they're not real. Even though I think they are real. And it's worth noting Richard English has had a lot of horrible backlash for talking about this and a lot of people trying to discredit him when he has nothing to gain. Like he hasn't gained anything from this. The only accounts now of him talking about it are like on 3 different cassette tapes. And I think you can hear those on the internet. I didn't want to. But if you all want to, you go ahead. You do it. Let us know. Yeah. Let me know how it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brother.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was a wild ride. The 13th Grudge report and the few people who have claimed to read it, people claim it's all a farce and fanciful bullshittery made up to secure fame. I don't want it to be true, so I would like to believe that it is a farce and no one is coming for my anus. But what do you guys think?
I believe it.
Yeah.
It's too, like, I believe it.
Well, and
It
why
just
is the
like,
report
why
missing?
exactly?
Yeah. Out of all these reports, why is one gone?
There are too many things.
And I think people doing these reports know how to count to 14.
Yes.
And skipping a whole number. We're not
That's
at a
not
hotel,
sus.
you guys.
Yeah.
We're not skipping the 13th floor and pretending it doesn't exist.
Interesting.
Not sus at all.
Yeah.
I wonder, and this is total speculation, I have no like grounds to stand this upon, but if the US military or whoever was taking the aliens and like experimenting on them, what if the aliens were like,
Good plan.
you're gonna do this to us, let's give you a taste of your own medicine.
Yeah. Because, like, if you're so interested in us, maybe we should be more interested in you.
Yeah.
What's going on in there?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what came first. Like,
We helped you build the pyramids. Now you have
like-
betrayed us. So therefore, yeah. I don't know.
Maybe
That's
it was
interesting
all
to think
just
about.
a clusterfuck of happening at the same time.
That too. I hate it.
Yeah, I
No.
don't want to ever know.
Same.
Yeah. And my sources are Sergeant goes missing at a nuclear test site by Wartime Stories, which was a video I watched on the YouTubes, which was really, 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 really well done. Very interesting. And an article, The Dark Connection Between UFOs and Grisly Mutilations. One of the most shocking cases involved an Air Force sergeant allegedly abducted by a saucer-like aircraft by Colin Bertram. Originally written on January 10th, 2020 and updated August 28th, 2023.
Okay. Interesting.
That is interesting.
Now I'm going to click out of this document and pretend like I never read it.
Yippee!
Yeah.
And that's what we got today.
That
That's
is what we got
today.
for day.
For day.
My brain's not working yet.
But we have socials.
We do
We
have
do.
some socials. We have a TikTok.
Yay!
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 At Seance with my siblings.
We have an Instagram at Seance with my siblings.
We have a YouTube.
Seance with my siblings.
We have an email where you can send us your alien encounters and ghost stories and pet pictures and
Pet pictures.
such.
And such. And my stomach just dropped a little bit when you told people to send us their alien stories. I don't want it. You guys are in charge of reading the alien
Okay,
stories.
we'll read the alien stories.
You need to put a warning. Includes aliens.
Include alien in the subject line.
Shandi, don't read.
Have someone tell it to you when you feel safe. And you have a blanket of protection over your
Yes.
head.
Yes.
Blankets work against aliens and demons.
And
Obvious.
ghosts.
And
everything,
ghosts,
really.
everything. Mhm.
But not
Yes.
your cat. Their claws
Nope.
can get through that shit.
Yeah.
If they're going to make a little bread loaf, they're going to do it even if you've got a blanket over you.
Ah.
Wait, did we see our Gmail? Our Gmail
yeah,
is...
we just
We said
Oh.
that we have one, but I don't think we gave
it's
it.
seance with my siblings at gmail.com
Yes, it is. We have a
Yeah.
Facebook page too.
that
do?
I never look at. I think we're most active on TikTok
Yes.
YouTube.
and YouTube and
Insta.
Instagram,
Mhm.
even though I never look at that either.
Yes. I think once we get more people like following on Facebook and like sharing memes, etc.,
mhm.
it will be a more
A good
fun.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll
Yes.
be a good time.
You can shit post your ghost memes.
Yeah.
Shit post your ghost memes on Facebook with us.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think that's all our
That's
socials.
all.
That
That's
is.
it. Wave at the microphone.
Bye.
Bye.